everybody say thank you, Taylor. Hi, hello, how are you? Long time no see. If you're new here, then it's nice to meet you. I'm Alex, and if you're coming back, thank you for sticking around. I know things haven't been super consistent lately. I've been really busy with grad school, so I've been focusing on that and graduating. I hope you're doing well, and if not, that's okay. I totally get that. We've all been there. And I hope tomorrow is better. If you can tell by the title of my video or by my thumbnail, then I'm sure you can tell by this outfit and this lipstick that we are going to be talking about books based on Reid, Taylor's version. I have compiled a little list of books that I think kind of pair well with Taylor's new release of Reid and the themes in her songs. I'm super excited to be talking about this. I love this album and I love Taylor Swift, and she's an icon, and if you haven't listened to the album yet, definitely go listen to it now. It'll make you feel like you are currently going through the worst heartbreak of your life, even when you aren't. She is that good. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book on this list, surprise surprise, is a Sally Rooney book. Honestly, anything Sally Rooney pairs well with anything Taylor Swift. In my mind, they are just like, Taylor is a Sally Rooney fan, and Sally Rooney stuff just makes sense with Taylor's music. But for this video specifically, I'm going to recommend Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. Of course, Joe Alwyn is also going to be playing Nick in the TV adaptation of this book, so it's perfect. And this is a story of two friends, Francis and Bobby, and they meet this older, kind of rich and successful couple. And Francis becomes involved with Nick, who is this actor. And I feel like, based on Taylor's relationship during this album, like the original one from 2012, this book is a very good representation of that power dynamic that someone older has in a relationship, and the feelings of like the amount of miscommunication, the amount of gaslighting, the amount of not knowing what's going on because you are so young and they are so grown. It's just embodied in this book. And of course, this book is all about sex and love and relationships, and Taylor's music is so much about relationships, especially this album. And of course, if you love Taylor for her lyricism, then you love Reid, and you'd love Sally Rooney. So definitely read this if you haven't yet. I know I talk about her too much. Next up is a Shirley Jackson book. In my mind, Shirley Jackson and Taylor just make sense, especially with Evermore, but we're talking about Reid. So I'm going to recommend The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is about a group of young people that are asked to join kind of a psychological experiment in this allegedly haunted house. The horror of Shirley Jackson's novels are not that they're monsters and that there are things that go bump in the night. It's the fact that they're in a supposed haunted house and there are things that go bump in the night, but the true monsters are the horrible things we harbor inside of us without addressing them, and without acknowledging them, and without healing from them. So good. Excellent. Of course, this is about women, which I feel like Taylor is all about, and I don't know, it just makes sense, and it's like a spooky, cozy book, so I think it would just make sense with Reid, because, you know, Hot Girl Autumn and Reid is representative of that. So next up, we have another book about relationships. Are we shocked? No, we're talking about Reid, people. Come on, get with the program. The Course of Love by Alain de Botton. So listen, I wasn't crazy about this book, I'm not gonna lie. I had a hard time getting through it. However, it was still really well written, and I think it was still a great reflection on relationships. The way this book starts It starts at the end of where love stories typically end. It starts where love stories and rom-coms typically end, which I think pairs super well with Reid, Taylor's version. You know, Taylor's talking about the beginning of the end and what happens after that happily ever after supposed ending, because stories don't end like that, right? They go on to live their actual lives after they get together. So this book tells a story after boy meets girl, because it's a boy meets girl story, and after they get married and have kids and live lives together. And it's a lot about miscommunication and how you have to choose to love someone. You have to work in a relationship, and it takes effort, and it doesn't always come easily, especially after so much time has passed. I think that's more beautiful than like just being in love, you know, choosing to love someone, knowing that they're worth it, and knowing that you care about them so deeply that you work every single day to be with them and to enjoy their company. This doesn't end happily in my opinion, but I just think it makes sense with Reid, Taylor's version. I don't know why this lighting is doing this to me. Like, why are you making me look like James Charles at one time? I'm only wearing red lipstick. Please stop. Anyway, next is another book on relationships. And this recommendation is thanks to Carly over on Uncarly. Honestly, I think I would have judged this book by the cover and never picked it up, but it is so good. And that's Less by Andrew Sean Greer. This is a story of a 50-year-old gay man who is a struggling author, and he's struggling to accept his aloneness at his age. It's all about reflections on a relationship and past transgressions and past mistakes, and how we can learn from that and how we can begin to heal from that. And it's really good and super funny. Honestly, like, it's so well written. I mean, it won the Pulitzer Prize. Not that I trust the Pulitzer Prize after The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, but it deserves the award that it received. I never in my life thought I would relate so hard to an old gay white man, but here we are, me relating to Les, because he's super relatable in so many ways. I just love that it's about him as a writer, and it's about stories and books, and it's not about, you know, him being wronged. It's about him learning from his past mistakes and learning to be better in his future relationships. And it's just really good, and I think all lovers of Reid would have a good time with this, and I think Taylor would like this book. So Taylor, if you're watching, read this book. Next up, we have a book on women being taken advantage by the music industry. That's Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is about a young girl who gets involved in the music industry at a very young and vulnerable age. Kind of like how the music industry took over her life, and how what they were saying and how the media portrayed her, and how that altered her so much, and how she had to heal from that. And of course, she also gets involved in relationships with a lot of older, super manipulative men. And it's very chaotic and heartbreaking and really good. I think that if you feel for Taylor and her story, and if you love Reid, then Daisy Jones and the Six is a really good reflection on how young people are absolutely destroyed by the music industry, especially women. Next is a book I don't have on hand with me right now because I'm lending it out, but I think if you love Taylor for her lyricism, which you should, especially Reid, Taylor's version, then you would like this book, and that's Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. I don't know how many times I can tell you people that I love this book and that you have to read it. If you haven't read this yet, please pick it up and thank me later. It's so good. It won the Booker Prize in 2019, and it's absolutely brilliant. It tells the story of 12 girl, women, and other, and their lives. It's mostly entailing the story of Black women in Britain, and it tells a story of their lives and their experiences at different time periods, at different ages, in different relationships and positions in the world, and it's incredible. I'm really poorly explaining this, but I know it doesn't relate to the theme of Reid, but I think you would love Evaristo's writing. It's absolutely gorgeous. She really throws out all grammar rules out the window and makes her own decisions about how she's going to tell her story and how she's going to write down her beautiful, beautiful, beautiful words. Everyone that I've recommended this to has adored it, and you will too. So please, please pick it up from your local library, local bookshop, whatever, and read this, because it's phenomenal. And while you're at it, go listen to Reid, Taylor's version. Next is another book about women being manipulated by the system and falling between the cracks of what's expected of them and kind of seen as doing things the wrong way, which honestly just makes me think of a song from Lover, but we're talking about Reid, Taylor's version right now. And that's The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Queen. I think if you like Taylor, you would love Sylvia Plath. Her writing is super naive in the best way. Like, it's so well done. And this is the story of Esther Green and her falling apart, realizing she doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. All she knows is she doesn't really want to be a mother or a wife, which is also why this book was banned in certain states in the US, FYI. It's just great. It's another book that reflects on how women are manipulated into trying to fit a mold that they cannot fit in, and just breaking apart because of that and being so deeply affected. And you know, Esther Green, she goes in through a whole mental breakdown after realizing she has no direct linear path. And she's only 19 years old or 20 years old, so she doesn't need to, but there are all these pressures on her to figure out what she's going to do with her life, and it really takes a toll on her. And it's just very Sally Rooney-esque in the stream of consciousness type of writing, and it's excellent and phenomenal and really hard to read. Last but not least is a book about being forced to grow up much quicker than you should, and being in a place of youth where you are really prone to influences of others. And that's the perks of being a wallflower. This is a book that stuck with me for years and years and years. I read it 1,001 times when I was in high school, and it was really influential for me. And I think it really reflects on the fact that Taylor was perceived as naive, but also had to grow up way faster than she should have. And she was way too mature for her age. And that impacted her a lot and impacted her image and people's perceptions of her. And I have been privy to that. And that just shows the power of the media. It's a little young, but I think it's also timeless, just like Reid, Taylor's version. So I think that if you like the album, you would definitely really like this book, and I just think the connection makes sense. This lighting is really killing me right now. I don't know what's going on. Oh god, I love tea. I love tea. Cheers. Yeah, that's all for today. I hope you guys like this video. Ooh, don't know what happened there. I love Taylor Swift and I love reading, so this video it made sense, and I hope that it was a good video to come back to. I'm sorry I've been away for so long. I'm probably not going to be posting videos every week, but hopefully every other week, because I love making content, and I love making content that you guys enjoy. And I don't want to rush that or make crappy content because I'm stressed to the brim about school. Right now I'm writing a paper about dying whales, so it's a great time. Anyway, like this video if you like this video, subscribe if you want to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.